Hey, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy our audiobooks, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to share your review in the comments section below.
Ignore them. Si Jianbei is afraid that Sheng Fenghua will not be used to, so whispered a sentence. No problem. Sheng Fenghua shook her head and walked freely, allowing everyone to size him up. Curiosity is part of the human condition. Moreover, Si Jianbei had always been self-disciplined and had never been close to that woman. So, after seeing Sheng Fenghua, everyone could not help but guess up. Si Jianbei always had a cold face in front of outsiders, and today was no exception. When he met someone who was attacking him, he only nodded lightly. If someone looked at Sheng Fenghua, he would give them a knife sigh. On the other hand, Sheng Fenghua had a faint smile on her face. She allowed others to look at her, and at the same time, when she met someone who was attacking her, she would reply, "Hello." Sheng Fenghua's actions instantly won everyone's favor, and more people attacked them. However, Si Jianbei's face became darker and darker. The scene of Si Jianbei and Sheng Fenghua walking together happened to fall into Bai Feifei's eyes. She looked at Sheng Fenghua hatefully, looked at the smile on her face, and wished she could go up and tear her apart. "Feifei, what's wrong?" Bai Feifei's companion, who was with Bai Feifei, saw her stop in her tracks and asked with concern. "Nothing." Bai Feifei shook her head, quickly put away the hatred on her face, and smiled again. "Let's go. We have to hurry, or else there will be a long line later," her companion said as she pulled Bai Feifei and sped up. When the two of them arrived at the entrance of the canteen, Sheng Fenghua and Si Jianbei had just arrived, so they bumped into each other. Battalion Commander Si, sister-in-law Fenghua. Sheng Fenghua looked at Bai Feifei, who had suddenly stood in front of her, and her eyes flashed. Actually, when Bai Feifei looked at her with that hateful gaze, she had already noticed it. Now, seeing that Bai Feifei was looking at her with a smile that did not seem to be faking it at all, Sheng Fenghua could not help but silently praise her acting skills. She clearly hated Bai Feifei to death, but she was still able to greet her with a smile. To be honest, she quite admired Bai Feifei like this. She could endure it, but she could also pretend. No wonder everyone liked her so much. She was willing to admit defeat on this point. If it was her, she really wouldn't be like Bai Feifei when facing her love rival. Hearing Bai Feifei's voice, Si Jianbei's face darkened and he frowned. He really hated this Bai Feifei. He didn't know why, but he hated her from the first time they met. But the more he hated her, the more he didn't give her a good look. The more she moved closer to him. This had always made him very angry. However, he was a man, and it wasn't good for him to go too far. After all, other than moving closer to him, she didn't do anything out of the ordinary. "So it's Dr. Bai." Sheng Fenghua glanced at Bai Feifei and smiled. Seeing the smile on Sheng Fenghua's face and seeing her standing with Si Jianbei, Bai Feifei couldn't help but feel jealous. She said, "It's really rare to meet Battalion Commander Si and sister-in-law here." "Really?" Sheng Fenghua smiled faintly at Bai Feifei. She already understood what she wanted to say. Sure enough, Bai Feifei said, "In the past, it was only Commander Si himself, so I was really surprised to see sister-in-law today." "Indeed." Sheng Fenghua nodded. She looked at Bai Feifei as usual. Although she was talking to herself, her gaze had always been on Si Jianbei. A wicked light flashed in her eyes, and her lips curled into a teasing smile. Sheng Fenghua deliberately said loudly, "Dr. Bai, why are you looking at Jianbei? Do you have something to say to him? Do you want me to leave for a while?" As soon as these words were said, many people's gazes fell on Bai Feifei. Many people still knew that Bai Feifei liked Si Jianbei. Now, seeing that Bai Feifei actually met Sheng Fenghua, everyone's gossips were instantly ignited. Whether it was those who had eaten breakfast or those who had not eaten, they all stood at the door and did not leave. Bai Feifei did not expect that Sheng Fenghua would suddenly say such a thing. Her face could not help but look a little ugly, and she could not hold back her smile. Although she had indeed been looking for an opportunity to be alone with Si Jianbei and talk to him, Si Jianbei had never given her a chance. This was her humiliation and also a pain in the bottom of her heart. However, Shang Fenghua had publicized it just like that, which made her feel very embarrassed. At this moment, Bai Feifei wished that she could find a hole in the ground to hide in because she had already felt everyone's disdainful and mocking gazes on her. You woman, how can you do this? Bai Feifei's companion Lin Qingma could not stand it anymore. She glared at Shang Fenghua and said loudly, yes, Si Zhanbei was already married. Bai Feifei should not like him anymore. However, love did not mean that she cannot like him. Therefore, she could understand Bai Feifei's actions. However, Shang Fenghua should not be so aggressive. She was already a winner. Why would she make things difficult for a loser? What did I do? Shang Fenghua looked at Lin Qingma with a funny look and asked, did I say something wrong just now? Dr. Bai has been looking at my husband ever since he talked to us. If it were you, what would you think? You? Lin Qingma was speechless by this question. Just now, Bai Feifei's gaze was indeed on Si Zhanbei. As a good friend, it was not appropriate for her to remind him. Now, with Shang Fenghua's words, Bai Feifei's reputation would be ruined in the future. Little sister, if you want to stand up for others, you have to be reasonable, right? Shang Fenghua looked at Lin Qingma with a smile that was not a smile. Then, she held Si Zhanbei's hand and prepared to leave. Bai Feifei was so embarrassed that she could not face anyone. She was no longer interested in someone who could be defeated so easily. Therefore, it was more important to fill her stomach. She had eaten noodles last night and ran so many laps this morning. She was already hungry. If they had not met Bai Feifei, they would have already started eating. Unexpectedly, Bai Feifei suddenly said, wait. Shang Fenghua could not help but raise her eyebrows when she heard Bai Feifei's voice. She glanced at Si Zhanbei before turning to look at Bai Feifei and asked, what's wrong? Does Dr. Bai have anything else to say? However, Bai Feifei ignored Shang Fenghua and looked at Si Zhanbei instead. Commander Si, are you going to let your wife humiliate me? Hearing Bai Feifei's words, Si Zhanbei frowned. He looked at her coldly and said, who can you blame for humiliating yourself? You? Bai Feifei widened her eyes and looked at Si Zhanbei. She never thought that Si Zhanbei would say such a thing. Even if she was not a doctor or an admirer of his, she was still the daughter of Si Zhanbei's superior. How dare he treat her like this? Was he not afraid that she would sue him and make his future path difficult? However, Si Zhanbei did not look at Bai Feifei anymore. He held Shang Fenghua's hand and said in a low voice, you must be hungry. Let's go and have breakfast. The completely different attitude towards the two of them already explained everything. Okay. Shang Fenghua smiled and threw a provocative look at Bai Feifei before entering the canteen with Si Zhanbei. Bai Feifei's face was filled with hatred as she watched the two of them leave. Clenching her fists, she gritted her teeth and shouted a name. Shang Fenghua. Shang Fenghua. Lin Qingma took a glance at her good friend who had suddenly turned ferocious, and Mengda took a few steps back. At this time, the onlookers also left, afraid that they would be implicated. Although Bai Feifei's excitement was good to watch, they did not have Si Zhanbei's courage. If they were to be held in a grudge, not only would it be troublesome to see a doctor in the future, but if she were to complain behind their backs, it would be over. Soon, only Bai Feifei and Lin Qingma were left at the entrance of the canteen. Lin Qingma hesitated for a moment, but still walked forward and asked, Feifei, are you okay? I'm fine. Bai Feifei shook her head, but the hatred in her eyes was still as glaring as ever. She would not let Shang Fenghua off. As for Si Zhanbei, he would have to wait. If he still defended Shang Fenghua like he did today, then don't blame her for suing him. In the canteen, Si Zhanbei brought Shang Fenghua to an empty table and sat down. He wanted to get breakfast. During breakfast, Shang Fenghua asked Si Zhanbei, Zhanbei, is it okay for you to treat Bai Feifei like that? What do you want to say? Si Zhanbei stopped eating and looked up at Shang Fenghua. Was it too late to worry about him now? I heard that Dr. Bai's father is your immediate superior. What if she files a complaint against you? Shang Fenghua only found out about it when Si Zhanbei went to get breakfast and heard about it from the people at the next table. In the past, although she had guessed that Bai Feifei had someone backing her up, she did not know that she was actually relying on Si Zhanbei's immediate superior. It was fine for her to offend by Fei Fei, but Si Zhanbei had offended her. What if her father came out to mess with Si Zhanbei? This was what she was most worried about. She did not want to affect Si Zhanbei's future because of the conflict between women. Don't worry, she wouldn't dare. Si Zhanbei smiled and said. He was quite pleased with his little wife's concern. However, his words did not make Sheng Fenghua feel at ease. Instead, she became even more worried. Seeing Sheng Fenghua like this, Si Zhanbei felt a little heartache. He picked up a steamed bun and placed it in her bowl, saying, "It doesn't matter even if she complains. She has a backer, and so do we. So, just put your heart into your stomach. It won't affect me." Sheng Fenghua glanced at Si Zhanbei suspiciously. Seeing that he did not seem to be lying and there was not a hint of worry in his eyes, she finally relaxed and ate her breakfast seriously. After breakfast, the two returned to the family courtyard and prepared to enter the city with their things. However, the two of them did not expect to bump into Bai Feifei as soon as they boarded the bus. This time, Bai Feifei did not come forward. Instead, she glared at Sheng Fenghua. Sheng Fenghua did not care about Bai Feifei's glare. She pulled Si Zhanbei to find a seat and sat down. However, Sheng Fenghua did not care, but Si Zhanbei could not ignore it. To him, disrespecting his wife was disrespectful to her. Therefore, his face darkened a little and gave Bai Feifei a warning look. Bai Feifei's heart trembled when she saw Si Zhanbei's gaze. This was the first time she saw Si Zhanbei's ice-cold gaze, as if it was going to pierce through her. She was so scared that she immediately withdrew her gaze and lowered her head, no longer daring stare at Sheng Fenghua. After he sat down, Si Zhanbei said to Sheng Fenghua, "Wife, if anyone bullies you in the future, you can bully them back. With me around, you don't have to be afraid of them." Sheng Fenghua was stunned when she heard that. Then, she smiled and replied, "Okay." Half an hour later, the car arrived in the city. Si Zhanbei and Sheng Fenghua got out of the car and walked toward the International Trade Building. The things they were going to buy today were better, so they planned to buy all the small things first and then go buy some larger items. It was his first time entering the city. Si Zhanbei was initially worried that Sheng Fenghua would be nervous or stage fright, but when he saw that she seemed to be more familiar with the shopping place than he was, his eyes could not help but flash. This was not the first time he suspected that Sheng Fenghua had secrets, but he had been holding it in and did not ask. There were some things that he was afraid that if he asked, it would hurt the relationship between the two of them. Although they had been married for a few months, their relationship had just eased up. He did not want to draw the line between the two of them again because of his suspicions. Sheng Fenghua did not think too much about it. In her previous life, she had been in and out of this kind of place quite a lot. She basically knew where to buy things. Therefore, she had never thought that her previous self was a girl from the countryside. The number of times she had entered the city could be counted on one hand. How could she be as familiar with it as she was? Si Zhanbei followed Sheng Fenghua into a large supermarket and bought some daily necessities and rice noodles. After buying these things, he had already crossed out more than half of the list of purchases. The only things left were the clothes that Sheng Fenghua wanted to buy, as well as curtains, furnishings, sofa covers, and so on. The two of them placed the things they bought in the store and went to buy clothes. Sheng Fenghua was thinner now, so the clothes were relatively easy to buy. Moreover, her taste was not bad. Although the clothes she bought were not too expensive, they matched up beautifully and fashionably. Therefore, when Si Zhanbei saw Sheng Fenghua coming out of the changing room after changing, he was so shocked that he could not take his eyes off her. Not only Si Zhanbei, even the waiters in the clothes shop were shocked. They had never known that the clothes in their shop could look so good. The combination was simply too perfect. One of the customers even specially asked Sheng Fenghua to help pick 2 sets of clothes, and the combination was also very good looking. The customer was extremely satisfied and even wanted to tip Sheng Fenghua, but she refused. There were a few customers who asked Sheng Fenghua for help, but she rejected them. She said, "I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry. My husband is still waiting for me there." Sheng Fenghua pointed at Si Zhanbei, making it difficult for the customers who asked for Sheng Fenghua's help to stay. Carrying the clothes she had bought, Sheng Fenghua held Si Zhanbei's hand as they walked out of the women's clothing store and turned into the men's clothing store at the side. Fenghua, do you still want to buy men's clothes? After entering the store, Si Zhanbei looked at Sheng Fenghua in confusion, thinking, why did she buy men's clothes? Sheng Fenghua smiled faintly and then said to the waiter, take that set of clothes down for me to see. After the waiter took the clothes down, Shang Fenghua pushed Si Zhanbei, who was standing in a daze, and said, go and try it on. Only then did Si Zhanbei know that Shang Fenghua was going to help him buy clothes. He was so happy that he was stunned, holding the clothes for a long time, and could not close his mouth. He never thought that Shang Fenghua would actually buy clothes for him. Go quickly! Shang Fenghua pushed Si Zhanbei again. Now, she was no longer the original Shang Fenghua. She had to dress herself, and Si Zhanbei also had to dress up. Even though his military uniform could not fit him, he had to change his style occasionally, didn't he? Okay. Si Zhanbei replied with a smile and went in to change his clothes. Shang Fenghua was waiting outside. When she heard the sound of the door opening, she turned her head and could not help but widen her eyes. Yes. I always knew Si Zhanbei was good-looking, but I never knew he could be so handsome. Shang Fenghua dared to say that as long as Si Zhanbei stood in front of the screen, any other national Prince Charming would definitely stand to the side. Daughter-in-law, what's wrong? Seeing Shang Fenghua looking at him blankly, Si Zhanbei was a little puzzled. He turned around to check his clothes and asked again, is it not good-looking? Shang Fenghua came back to her senses and did not say anything. Instead, she pulled Si Zhanbei in front of the mirror to let him see for himself. Si Zhanbei raised his head to look in the mirror. The first thing he saw was not himself, but Shang Fenghua's delicate face. It was said that people relied on their clothes, makeup, and saddles. The clothes that Shang Fenghua used to wear were all brought from the countryside and looked a little rustic. But today, with her clothes on, no one would say that she was a girl from the countryside. The clothes matched her temperament very well, making her look like a budding flower bud, charming and alluring. After watching Shang Fenghua, he looked at himself again. His casual outfit was less cold and hard than when he was wearing the military uniform, but more gentle, which matched his chiseled face. He directly shook off those young hunks or the so-called national Prince Charming mentioned on TV recently. Looking at the two people in the mirror, one was as charming as a fairy, and the other was as handsome as a Prince Charming. Si Zhanbei nodded his head in satisfaction. Not bad, very compatible. How is it? My taste is good, right? Shang Fenghua looked at the two people in the mirror and was quite satisfied. The only thing that made her slightly dissatisfied was that her body was too thin and her face was a little dark. It seemed that she had to take good care of her face. Otherwise, she would not be able to match up to the peerless Si Zhanbei. Very good. Si Zhanbei smiled and curled his lips. Then, he turned around and went to change his clothes. People who were used to wearing military uniforms felt more comfortable wearing military uniforms. Shang Fenghua did not say anything about Si Zhanbei changing his clothes. After all, Si Zhanbei was just a clothes rack. No matter what he wore, he was so handsome that she could not take her eyes off him. Therefore, Shang Fenghua secretly swore in her heart that she would protect Si Zhanbei for the rest of her life. She could not let others snatch it away. After buying the clothes, the couple went to buy curtains and other things. When they had bought all the things, it was already time for lunch. Therefore, the two of them were not in a hurry to return to the army. Instead, they found a place to eat first. It was Shang Fenghua's first time in the city, so the place to eat was found by Si Zhanbei. It was a very ordinary dumpling restaurant. The store was ordinary, but the interior was very clean, giving people a very comfortable feeling. Battalion Commander, you're here. The moment Si Zhanbei entered the store, the boss welcomed him with a smile. You two know each other? Seeing that the two of them were very familiar, Shang Fenghua asked with a smile. This is my ex-soldier, Chun Ruelong. He got injured during a mission and retired from the army. Then, he couldn't bear to leave this city, so he opened a dumpling restaurant here. After introducing Chun Ruelong's situation, Si Zhanbei said to Chun Ruelong, this is my wife, your sister-in-law. Hello, sister-in-law. This is your first time here, so I have to prepare some of my best dishes. As Chun Ruelong spoke, he welcomed the two of them into the shop. After inviting the two to sit down, Chun Ruelong went into the kitchen. Si Jianbei and Sheng Fenghua were sitting and talking. As they were talking, they suddenly heard someone shouting outside the shop. "Oh no, the old man fell down? Brother, he suddenly fell in front of you. It can't be a scam, right?" Hearing the words outside, Si Jianbei and Sheng Fenghua looked at each other and then walked out. They saw an old man who was about 70 years old fall on the roadside. There were many people surrounding him, but no one went forward to help him. What's going on? As a soldier, Si Jianbei had a strong sense of justice. When he saw this kind of thing, he could not just stand by and watch. Hearing Si Jianbei's voice and seeing the military uniform he was wearing, the people who were watching the show instantly moved back a little, allowing him to walk to the old man who fell on the ground. Sheng Fenghua followed suit and walked up to the old man together with Si Jianbei. "What's going on?" Si Jianbei glanced at the old man and asked the onlookers. At this moment, Sheng Fenghua had already squatted down and started to examine the old man. When she saw the old man's expression just now, it didn't seem like he was being blackmailed. Instead, it seemed like he suddenly had an acute illness. However, she couldn't see what exactly the illness was, so she could only do a preliminary examination. "I don't know." This old man walked up to me and suddenly collapsed. I was even shocked. When he heard Si Jianbei's question, the young man who had started shouting at the beginning immediately answered. Speaking of this matter, he still felt a little wronged. He was clearly walking well, but suddenly a person collapsed beside him. It would be strange if he wasn't shocked. Is he telling the truth? Si Jianbei asked another person. A few people who saw the old man collapse immediately testified for the young man. He said he didn't lie. This old man did collapse suddenly. We were also shocked. Aren't we suspecting that it was a scam? At this time, Sheng Fenghua had already examined the old man and said to Si Jianbei, "Jianbei, this old man should be suffering from an emergency. Let's send him to the hospital first." Suffering from emergency? Si Jianbei glanced at Sheng Fenghua in surprise. Since when did she know how to treat a patient? Sheng Fenghua did not notice Si Jianbei's expression. Instead, she looked at the old man whose face was slightly pale and said, "This old man should be suffering from a heart attack. Go look for a car. I'll first check if he has any emergency medicine on him." Okay. When Si Jianbei heard that the old man might be suffering from a heart attack, he immediately stood up and planned to block the car on the road. Meanwhile, Sheng Fenghua had already started looking for the old man's body, but she could not find any emergency medicine. She did not know what to do for a moment. She had first aid medicine in her space, but she could not take it out in front of so many people. In the end, she hesitated for a moment and began to massage some of the old man's acupuncture points to alleviate his condition. Fortunately, Si Jianbei quickly stopped the car. The two of them immediately carried the old man into the car and headed to the hospital. When they arrived at the hospital, the old man was quickly sent to the emergency room. Sheng Fenghua and Si Jianbei waited outside. Thinking that the old man's condition was a little serious, Sheng Fenghua told Si Jianbei to go to the bathroom. In fact, after she entered the washroom, she directly entered her own space and took out some emergency pills for heart disease. When she came back from the washroom, the patient's family had already arrived. They were thanking Si Jianbei while waiting for the old man in the emergency room to come out. Not long after, the door of the emergency room opened. The doctor walked out and said to the patient's family with a guilty look, "I'm sorry, because our hospital's conditions are limited, we can't save the old man." The patient's family almost fainted when he said that. However, Sheng Fenghua glanced at the doctor and said, "I know a little about medicine. Can I go in and have a look?" "You?" The doctor looked at Sheng Fenghua suspiciously. It was not the doctor's fault, but Sheng Fenghua looked too young, like a high school student who had not graduated. She did not look like a doctor at all. "I might be able to save the old man's life, if you believe me." Sheng Fenghua did not care about the doctor's suspicious gaze, but she was confident in herself. Previously, she had alleviated the old man's condition. She estimated that she could delay it for another 3 or 4 hours. But now, from the time they sent the old man over, it had only been 2 hours. In other words, the old man should still be able to hold on for another hour, so she should still have a way to save him. Fenghua Yu. Si Jianbei looked at Sheng Fenghua with a serious face. Saving people was not a small matter. Could Sheng Fenghua really be saved? Jianbei, trust me. At this moment, Sheng Fenghua could not care less about Si Jianbei's suspicion toward her. Although she was not a good person in her previous life, she could not watch a person who was clearly saved be sentenced to death just like that. Moreover, she could tell that the old man's identity was not ordinary. If she could save him, he might be of help to Si Jianbei in the future. Okay. Seeing Sheng Fenghua's serious face, Si Jianbei chose to believe her. He looked at the doctor and said to him, "Please allow my wife to go and take a look. If she can save people, everyone will be happy. Even if she can't save you, there will be no loss, right?" The doctor thought about it, and Si Jianbei's words made sense, so he nodded. At this moment, the patient's family also regained their senses. After hearing what Si Jianbei said to the doctor, they looked at Sheng Fenghua eagerly and asked, "Can you really save our old man?" Sheng Fenghua looked at the patient's family member and said with a serious face, "I can't be 100% sure, but I'll try my best." It was unknown whether it was because of the serious expression on Sheng Fenghua's face or because she was planning to make a last resort, but the patient's family member actually believed Sheng Fenghua's words and said, "Then I'll leave my old man to you." After saying that, the other party even bowed deeply to Sheng Fenghua. However, Sheng Fenghua avoided her and strode into the emergency room. The people in the emergency room were stunned when they saw the doctor bring a little girl in. They asked, "Who is she?" "She is a doctor," the doctor who brought Sheng Fenghua and explained. Then, he took a white coat from his side and gave it to Sheng Fenghua. Sheng Fenghua took the coat and put it on in a few seconds. Then, she went to the old man on the emergency table. She checked the old man's condition. Fortunately, she could still be saved. However, the equipment in the emergency room was really too poor. There was indeed no way to save her. Fortunately, none of this was difficult for her. After all, she was once known as the ghost doctor by the underworld. If she could not even save a person who had a heart attack, how could she survive? Moreover, she still had the special medicine that she had developed herself. Therefore, Sheng Fenghua said to the doctor who had brought her in, "I can save him, but I'll have to trouble you to leave for a while." As soon as she said this, the people in the emergency room looked at each other and then turned to look at the doctor. "Can you really save the old man?" The doctor looked at Sheng Fenghua in disbelief. Even he could not save people, but she could actually save them. Could it be that her medical skills were superb? After all, he had studied abroad and came back. His medical skills were second to none in this hospital. Human lives are at stake. I never joke. Sheng Fenghua glanced at the doctor indifferently and then repeated what she had just said. "I'm going to save her. Please leave first." It turned out that the doctor wanted to stay and see how Sheng Fenghua saved the old man, but in the end, he did not stay and left with the others. When the people in the resuscitation room left, Sheng Fenghua immediately began to save the old man. The old man's condition was not very good. If she did not treat him now, it would really be too late. So, she first took out the medicine that she had taken out from her space from her pocket and quickly fed it to the old man's mouth. Fortunately, the medicine that she made melted immediately in the mouth, and she once again massaged the acupuncture points on the old man's body to speed up the efficacy of the medicine. As the medicine entered her mouth and Sheng Fenghua massaged him, the old man's face slowly eased up. It was not until she saw the old man's breathing gradually calm down that Sheng Fenghua stopped what she was doing. Then, she flashed into space again and took out a few bottles of pills specifically for heart disease. Not long after she came out of the space, the old man slowly opened his eyes and looked at the petite Sheng Fenghua. He asked with a smile, "Little girl, did you save me?" "Old man, how are you feeling now? Are you feeling unwell?" Sheng Fenghua nodded and asked with a smile. This old man woke up earlier than she expected. Perhaps it was because of the space, but the effect seemed to be better than before. "I'm fine. I'm not feeling unwell." "Okay, Wait here for a while. I'll call someone in. Sheng Fenghua secretly helped the old man check. After confirming that he was really fine, she turned around to open the door. The moment the door opened, Si Jianbei took the lead and walked in front of Sheng Fenghua. He asked, "Daughter-in-law, how is it?" Although he had just trusted Sheng Fenghua, when she went in, he started to worry again. Because he remembered Sheng Fenghua's background. She was just a little girl from the countryside. How could she know anything about medicine? But this time, Sheng Fenghua had already gone in. It was too late for him to stop her. He could only wait anxiously outside and pray. He hoped that Sheng Fenghua really knew medicine and could really save that old man's life. Otherwise, the consequences... Si Jianbei did not dare to think about it, nor did he dare to show it. He was afraid that if he showed even the tiniest bit of his nervousness and worry, it would affect the mood of the patient's family. "Miss, how's my old man?" The second person who came to Sheng Fenghua was the old man's family. He was the same as Si Jianbei. He started to worry after Sheng Fenghua went in. As a family member, he knew the old man's situation better than anyone else. Moreover, this time, the old man went out alone and did not bring any first aid medicine. If it were not for Si Jianbei and Sheng Fenghua sending the old man to the hospital, they would have been separated by yin and yang. Logically speaking, when the doctor said that he could not save the old man, he should have given up. However, Sheng Fenghua gave him a glimmer of hope, making him not understand how he could believe her. "Don't worry, the old man is already fine. You can go in and see him." Sheng Fenghua smiled at the man and then led him through the door, allowing him to rush into the resuscitation room. At this time, the doctor who wanted to come over immediately walked in front of Sheng Fenghua and asked in disbelief, "You really saved that old man? Whether it's true or not, won't you know once you go in and take a look?" Sheng Fenghua said with a smile. Then she pulled Si Jianbei to the side and said, "Jianbei, wait for me for a while. Wait for me to get the basic medical fee before you leave, okay?" Originally, Si Jianbei had planned to take Sheng Fenghua away and find a place to ask her about her medical expertise. Now that he heard that Sheng Fenghua wanted to get the medical fee, he could only wait for a while. Fortunately, the two of them did not wait for long before the old man's family rushed out. Seeing that Sheng Fenghua and Si Jianbei were still sitting in the corridor, they were overjoyed. They came to the two of them and said, "Fortunately, you're still here." Sheng Fenghua looked up at them with a smile and asked, "The old man should be fine now, right?" "I'm fine. Thank you, Mississippi. My name is Jun Yinchin. It's all thanks to you two that the old man is fine this time. May I know your names?" "My name is Si Jianbei, and this is my wife, Sheng Fenghua." Before Sheng Fenghua could speak, Si Jianbei had already answered first. Hearing Si Jianbei say that Sheng Fenghua was his wife, Jun Yinchin could not help but be stunned. He thought that the two were brother and sister, but they were actually husband and wife. He really did not expect that Sheng Fenghua would actually get married at such a young age. Si Jianbei saw that Jun Yinchin was looking at his little wife in a daze and felt that it was very annoying. He said with some displeasure, "If there's nothing else, Mr. Jun, my wife and I will leave first." At this moment, he only felt uncomfortable in his heart. He did not know that he was jealous at all and had completely forgotten that Sheng Fenghua wanted to get the medical fee. However, his words made Jun Yinchin come back to his senses. He looked at him and said, "Wait, Mr. C, don't be in a hurry to leave. My father still wants to talk to Miss Sheng. The old man is looking for me." Sheng Fenghua glanced at Jun Yinchin with a flash of joy in her eyes. Then, she glanced at Si Jianbei before entering the emergency room again. In the emergency room, the doctor was talking to the old man. When he saw Sheng Fenghua enter, he said to the old man, "Mr. Jun, I suggest you stay in the hospital for observation." "I will consider it," the old man said indifferently. Then, he waved to Sheng Fenghua and said, "Little girl, come here quickly." "Mr. Jun, may I know why you are looking for me?" Sheng Fenghua came to Mr. Jun and asked with a smile. Although she said that she wanted to get the money from Si Jianbei, it was just to delay time. What she really wanted to do was to sell the medicine to Mr. Jun. "Little girl, what's your name?" Mr. Jun asked with a smile. Previously, although he couldn't speak because of a heart attack, he knew that it was Shang Fenghua who saved him from the beginning. Whether it was when Shang Fenghua first massaged his acupoints or when she fed him medicine, he was conscious. At the beginning, he thought that Shang Fenghua had fed him ordinary medicine, but when he took the medicine and his body became more and more comfortable, he knew that the medicine Shang Fenghua gave him was not ordinary. This was also the reason why he hurriedly asked his son to go out and look for Shang Fenghua. He wanted to know if she still had that medicine. Shang Fenghua. Shang Shi Fenghua. Peerless, a good name. Grandfather Jun praised with a smile. Then he looked at Shang Fenghua and hesitated, not knowing how to say it. Shang Fenghua, on the other hand, looked at Grandfather Jun and could not help but find it funny. She asked, "Grandfather, you didn't call me here just to ask for my name, did you? You, this girl, look like a smart and cunning person. Don't you know why I called you here?" The old man scolded with a smile. "Well, if Grandfather didn't say it, I really wouldn't know." Shang Fenghua mischievously winked at the old man, as if she didn't know anything, but she was already feeling proud in her heart. "You little girl." Old Master Jun glared at Shang Fenghua in annoyance. In the end, he couldn't help but say, "All right, I won't play dumb with you anymore. I want to know if there's still that medicine you gave me before." Shang Fenghua smiled. That smile was as bright as it could be. She looked at Old Master Jun and asked with a smile, "Old Master, so what if there's that medicine? So what if there's no medicine?" "You little girl, you have to make my old master say it clearly." Old Master Jun scolded with a smile. He said, "When you fed me the medicine before, I was still conscious. I felt that the medicine was different from what I had eaten before, but the effect was better than the previous medicine. After eating it, I felt very comfortable. I wonder if the lass can sell me some of that medicine. You can quote me any price you want." Old man is indeed a person who knows what's good for him. Shang Fenghua praised with a smile. Then, she took out a bottle of medicine and waved it in front of Old Man Jun. She said, "If I say that I made this medicine myself, I wonder if Old Man Jun still wants to buy it?" "Buy it, why not? The old man has taken a lot of medicine for his illness, but there has never been a medicine that has the same effect as the one you fed me. So, the old man wants to ask you, how much is this medicine?" "This medicine is 1,000 yuan per bottle, and there are 30 pills in each bottle. If the old man is sincere in buying it, I can give you a 20% discount." Shang Fenghua said with a smile her medicine was definitely worth more than this price, but she was not famous now, so she could not raise the price too high for the time being. "All right, I'll buy as many bottles as you have now." When the old man heard the price, he agreed without a second word. Although Shang Fenghua had already predicted that the old man would definitely buy it, she couldn't help but ask, so straightforward, "Old man, aren't you going to think about it more?" "Girl, I trust you." A wise light flashed in Old Man Jun's eyes. He had lived for almost a lifetime, so he still had this bit of insight. He could see that Shang Fenghua wasn't an ordinary little girl, and he also knew that she was a kind-hearted girl. Of course, she might have some little tricks up her sleeve, but it wouldn't hurt much. She had saved his life. He appreciated her kindness. "Well, I have a total of 3 bottles of medicine here. I'll sell them all to you." Shang Fenghua took out the medicine she had prepared long ago and handed it to Grandfather Jun. She said, "Take 1 pill a day for 3 months. Even if it can't cure your disease, it can at least keep you from having an attack for 3 years." "Are you serious?" Grandfather Jun looked at Shang Fenghua in shock. He only felt that the medicine that Shang Fenghua gave him was not bad, but he didn't expect that the medicine could keep him from having an attack for 3 years. This was something that he had never taken before. Whether it's true or not, you'll know after you try it. Shang Fenghua smiled again, stood up and said, "You can give me cash or a card. My husband is a soldier. I live in a military home. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first." After saying that, Shang Fenghua planned to leave. She was starving at the moment, and if she didn't eat, she would have to sing. "Girl, you're leaving just like that?" Grandfather Jun was a little surprised when he saw Shang Fenghua leave just like that. She actually left just like that. Wasn't she worried that he would go back on his word? Shang Fenghua smiled and turned to look at Grandfather Jun. She asked, "Why? Does grandfather still have something to do? You believe me so much? You are not worried at all? The old man could not help but ask out. He believed in Sheng Fenghua because his experience was there. But Sheng Fenghua is not the same. A look as a little girl, unexpectedly. So believe him, but let Jun Lao Zi some curiosity. That old man will deceive me, a little girl? Sheng Fenghua asked back, but provoke is Jun. Old man laughed out loud, said, no, of course not. What identity did he have? How could he lie to Sheng Fenghua for such a small amount of money? That's it. Since old master won't lie to me, what do I have to worry about? Are you so sure? Old master Jun was really curious, as if he wanted to get to the bottom of the matter. Sheng Fenghua's gaze fell on old master Jun again, and she smiled to clarify his doubts. Although old master Jun is sick, he takes good care of himself. Although the clothes on his body look ordinary, they are handmade. One look, and you can tell that he is either rich or noble. A person like you cherishes reputation the most. Why would you lie to me just because of a little money? I wonder if I have solved old master's doubts. As soon as Sheng Fenghua asked this question, she heard old master Jun's hearty laughter and said, she is indeed a mischievous little girl. Not bad, not bad. Jun Yinshin, who was waiting outside, could not help but be stunned when he heard his own old master's laughter. Then he could not help but want to go in and take a look. Therefore, he strode toward the emergency room. Si Jianbei took a look and quickly followed. Unexpectedly, when the two of them entered the door, they saw Sheng Fenghua preparing to come out. Grandfather, you're in a good mood today. Jun Yinshin glanced at Sheng Fenghua and said to grandfather with a smile. When grandfather Jun saw that his grandson had come, he immediately ordered, Yinshin, do you have any money on you? Give 3,000 yuan to the little girl. When Jun Yinshin heard grandfather Jun's order, he immediately took out his wallet and handed 3,000 yuan to Sheng Fenghua. However, Sheng Fenghua only took 2,400 yuan. She then waved at old man Jun and said, we agreed on a 20% discount. After saying that, she put the money into her pocket and held Si Jianbei's hand. She said, old man, Mr. Jun, we have some matters to attend to, so we'll take our leave first. Ninshin, send the little girl and her husband off. After old man Jun instructed, Jun Yinshin followed. Only after sending the two of them to the staircase did they return to take care of old man Jun. After leaving the hospital, Sheng Fenghua looked at Si Jianbei with a charming face and said, Jianbei, I've earned money today. Shall we have a big meal? Si Jianbei smiled and said, I'm afraid it's not possible today. Why not? Aren't you hungry? Sheng Fenghua's eyes sparkled as she looked at Si Jianbei. She had already missed lunch. She was already very hungry, okay? Rueilong is definitely waiting for us to go back for dinner, so your big meal can only be rescheduled. Hearing this, Sheng Fenghua finally remembered the restaurant she went to before coming to the hospital. So, she pulled Si Jianbei's hand to speed up and said, let's go, I'm starving. When the two of them returned to the restaurant, Chen Rueilong was still waiting for them. The food was still hot. After eating, the two of them went to the mall to pick up the things they had stored and then took the bus back to the courtyard. The night passed without a word. The next day, Si Jianbei went to work early. Sheng Fenghua was bored at home and was about to enter the space to take a look when a small car stopped at the door of the family courtyard. Hearing that someone was looking for him, Sheng Fenghua was a little suspicious. She locked the door and went straight to the guardroom. It's you. Walking into the doorman's room, Sheng Fenghua was surprised to see the man sitting there waiting for her. Although she had a guess Jun Lao Zi should also come to look for him, but also did not think of the next day to come to the door. Miss Sheng. Jun Yinshin saw Sheng Fenghua get up with a smile and made a call. Why are you here? Sheng Fenghua asked with a smile. Since Si Jianbei was not at home, she could not invite Jun Yinshin to the house, so she could only talk to him here. Miss Sheng, it's like this. My old master wants to see you. Jun Yinshin explained his purpose of coming, and then asked, do you have time, Miss Sheng? Hearing Jun Yinshin call her Miss Sheng from left and Miss Sheng from right, Sheng Fenghua felt a bit of a headache and said, Mr. Jun, just call me Fenghua from now on. Jun Yinshin was stunned for a moment. Then he smiled and said, that's good too. Then you don't have to call me Mr. Jun, just call me Yinshin. Okay. Shang Fenghua nodded, then looked at Jun Yinshin and said, I wonder where old master is. Is he far away? Don't worry, Fenghua. My old master is in the city. He's not too far away, and I've driven here. It won't take long. Hearing Jun Yinshin's words, Shang Fenghua thought for a moment and said, It's not impossible to see old master, but I must be back before lunch. Jun Yinshin did not ask further, but lowered his head to calculate the time and said, It should be no problem. If that's the case, then I'll go with you. But I have to leave a message for my husband. After Shang Fenghua said that, she turned around and told the guard to tell Si Zhanbei that she had gone to the city. After Shang Fenghua finished her explanation, Jun Yinshin left the guard room with her and got into the car outside. What Shang Fenghua did not expect was that Bai Feifei happened to come to the guard room to pick up the letter just as she and Jun Yinshin got into the car. Because she was sitting in the car, Shang Fenghua didn't see Bai Feifei, but Bai Feifei did. Who was the person who just arrived? Bai Feifei asked the guard. I'm sorry, Dr. Bai. I don't know that person. Then who is he looking for? He's looking for Battalion Commander C's lover. Hearing this, Bai Feifei's expression changed, and 3 words came out of her mouth. Shang Fenghua. Yes. Bai Feifei fell silent. Who exactly was that person? And why was he looking for Shang Fenghua? One had to know that a person who could drive a car was definitely not an ordinary person. And Shang Fenghua was just a girl from the countryside. How could she have a relationship with such a person? Bai Feifei thought as she took her letter out of the guard room. Shang Fenghua didn't know anything about Bai Feifei seeing her leave in the car. She soon arrived at the city in Jun Yinshin's car and stopped in front of a private hospital. This is... Shang Fenghua looked at Jun Yinshin with some confusion. She wondered if the old man was still in the hospital. Logically speaking, it shouldn't be. When they left yesterday, the old man was fine. Moreover, he didn't need to be hospitalized after taking her medicine. Why did Jun Yinshin bring her to the hospital? Let's go. The old man is waiting inside. Jun Yinshin smiled and didn't explain further. Instead, he directly led Shang Fenghua to the director's office. At this moment, in the director's office, the old man was drinking tea with the director of the hospital while talking. As they were talking, there was a knock on the door. The old man's face lit up with joy, and he said, He's here. Come in. The dean called out, and Jun Yinshin and Shang Fenghua pushed the door open and walked in. Jun Yinshin walked in front, but the old man didn't even look at him. Instead, he looked at Shang Fenghua behind him and waved with a smile, saying, Girl, you're here. Come and sit here. Jun Yinshin looked at his old man's behavior and was a little speechless. He even wondered if he had picked him up, because in all his life, he had never seen the old man treat him so warmly. Old master. Shang Fenghua greeted him with a smile and then nodded at the director. She then walked over to old master Jun's side and sat down. She asked, May I know why old master is looking for me? Of course it's a good thing that old master is looking for you. Old master Jun's face was full of pride. He then raised his hand and pointed at the director sitting opposite him. He was also an old friend of his. He said, Come, girl. Let me introduce you first. This is my good friend, the director of this private hospital, Yang Huazi. Hello, President Yang. I'm Shang Fenghua. Shang Fenghua smiled at President Yang and stood up. After the self-introduction, she sat down again and turned to look at Grandfather Jun with a face full of questions. What did she mean? However, before Grandfather Jun could speak, President Yang took the lead and said to Grandfather Jun, Old man Jun, you didn't lie to me, did you? Shang Fenghua looked too young, which made him very suspicious. Did she really make the thing that Elder Jun gave him yesterday? He was thinking, unless Shang Fenghua was a genius, otherwise, how could she be able to make a drug with top-grade purity and efficacy at such a young age? Old man Yang, when have I ever lied to you? Old man Jun was unhappy. He glared at President Yang and said, Let me tell you, this girl is very capable. Shang Fenghua sat at the side and listened to the conversation between the two of them. She more or less understood, but she did not speak. Instead, she looked at Jun Yinshin. Feeling Shang Fenghua's gaze, Jun Yinshin smiled at her. He had just found out why his old man wanted to be Shang Fenghua. He wanted to introduce her to this private hospital as a doctor. They had only met once, but his old man was already so devoted to Sheng Fenghua. This made even his legitimate grandson feel jealous, not to mention the people in his family. It must be known that many of the people in his family had begged the old man to help them work according to the schedule, but they were all beaten and scolded back by the old man. But now, Sheng Fenghua had no relatives or relatives with the old man, yet he was so devoted to her. He really didn't understand the old man. On second thought, Sheng Fenghua saved the old man's life and was his savior. It was reasonable that the old man would be so devoted to her, so he didn't say anything. Is she really that capable? I've never seen her before. President Yang snorted. Although he liked Sheng Fenghua, the little girl he had just met, he really didn't believe that she was the one who made the medicine, because her age was obvious. In their line of work, especially if they wanted to make the medicine that old man Jun had given him yesterday, whether it was purity or efficacy, they would have to go through at least several decades of training, and Sheng Fenghua was really too young. Old man Jun was so angry that he glared at President Yang. He had been kind enough to introduce a formidable servant girl to the other party, but he had actually doubted her. He was really angered to death. Seeing that old Master Jun and President Yang were about to quarrel, Sheng Fenghua felt a little embarrassed and immediately said, "Old Master, President Yang, may I interrupt you for a moment?" Elder Jun looked at Sheng Fenghua, and the anger on his face instantly disappeared. He asked with a smile, "Girl, what do you want to say?" "Elder Jun, President Yang, I want to ask, what are you arguing about? If it's because of me, then there's no need. I'm not related to you, so there's no need to destroy the relationship between the two of you because of an outsider like me." "You girl." When Grandfather Jun heard Sheng Fenghua's words, he felt greatly comforted. As expected, he didn't misjudge her. She was really a sensible girl. President Yang also glanced at Sheng Fenghua. Although he was still suspicious, he was also a little more satisfied, so he said, "Since old man Jun called you little girl, then I'll let him call you that too." "Little girl Sheng, it's like this. I heard that you sold a few bottles of medicine to old man Jun yesterday. I took a look and found that both the efficacy and purity of the medicine were very good. What I want to ask is, did you really make this medicine yourself?" "That's right. I did indeed make that medicine myself." Sheng Fenghua smiled with a face full of confidence. Without waiting for President Yang to speak again, she continued, "I know that President Yang will definitely suspect that I'm too young to know how to make medicine. I don't want to explain this either. After all, everyone's experience and field of expertise are different. But I can prove it on the spot. As long as President Yang can provide the venue and materials, I can prove myself." "Good, well said." Old man Jun laughed loudly. He looked at President Yang proudly and said, "The servant girl has already said so. Why don't you get someone to prepare it quickly? You don't have to say that I lied to you." President Yang glared at his good friend, then stood up to make a phone call. Not long after, a young man walked in and asked the president, "President, are you looking for me? Go to the pharmacy's pharmacy and line up. I'm going to bring a friend to visit it later." "Yes." Not long after the man left, President Yang opened his mouth to ask Sheng Fenghua some questions about the pharmacy. No matter what the questions were, Sheng Fenghua answered them smoothly. This made the doubts in his heart disappear quite a bit. The happiest person was Grandfather Jun, seeing that Sheng Fenghua did not embarrass him. He was extremely proud. Jun Yinshin listened from the side and was also very surprised. He had thought that Sheng Fenghua was just an ordinary girl, but he did not expect her to be so secretive. No wonder his grandfather liked her. Even he could not help but admire her. Not long after, the young man came to the president's office again and told President Yang that everything was arranged according to schedule. Therefore, President Yang brought Sheng Fenghua and Grandfather Jun to the pharmacy. As soon as Sheng Fenghua entered the pharmacy, it was as if a fish had entered the sea. Her entire temperament had changed. Her gaze swept over the medicinal herbs on the shelves one by one, and her eyes flashed with a bright light from time to time. She thought to herself, "This private hospital's strength is not bad. It can even obtain some rare medicinal herbs." As soon as she entered the pharmacy, President Yang began to secretly observe Sheng Fenghua, taking in the expression on her face. It could be seen that Sheng Fenghua was not unfamiliar with these things, so the suspicion in her heart faded a little. She had been very doubtful before, but now there were only 3 points left. As for whether the last 3 points could be removed, it would depend on Sheng Fenghua's ability in a while. President Yang brought Sheng Fenghua to the pharmaceutical machine and said, "I urgently need a medicine to treat stomach diseases now. I'll give you half an hour to make it." "Okay." Sheng Fenghua nodded and then took out a basket at the side to pick the herbs she needed. In the beginning, President Yang would check whether Sheng Fenghua had taken the wrong herbs. After a few glances, he was completely relieved. This was because he realized that even though it was Sheng Fenghua's first time in this pharmacy, she was more familiar with the medicinal herbs than he was. He was surprised and at the same time relieved. Therefore, he did not look at it anymore. He directly took Elder June and the others to the lounge next door to rest. Sheng Fenghua quickly picked out the medicinal herbs and began to make them. In just 20 minutes, Sheng Fenghua finished making the medicine and brought it to the lounge for President Yang to look at. President Yang took the pill from Sheng Fenghua's hand, looked at the time, and nodded in satisfaction. Then, he personally appraised the medicinal properties and effects of the pill, and finally believed that Sheng Fenghua was really a genius. "How was it? I didn't lie to you, did I?" Grandfather Jun looked at his good friend with a proud face and asked with a smile. He had never seen people wrongly before. His old friend actually didn't believe him. He deserved to be slapped in the face. "Yes, you didn't lie to me." President Yang put away the pill, then turned to Sheng Fenghua and solemnly apologized, saying, "Servant girl, I'm sorry." It's okay. Sheng Fenghua waved her hand, then looked at the clock on the wall and said, "Grandfather Jun, President Yang, if there's nothing else, I have to go back." When Grandfather Jun heard this, he was unhappy and said, "Lass, why are you in such a hurry?" He hadn't even properly talked to her yet. "It's like this. When I came out, my husband didn't know. Moreover, he has to go home for lunch, so I have to go back and cook," Sheng Fenghua explained with a smile. She had previously promised Si Jianbei that as long as she was at home, he would go home for lunch. Now, there was still an hour before lunch. Half an hour on the road and half an hour cooking was just right. "Is that so?" Old Jun's complexion was a little better. He turned his head to look at President Yang and said, "Since that's the case, then you can make a long story short." "All right." President Yang nodded and then said to Sheng Fenghua, "Little girl Sheng, your pharmaceutical manufacturing skills are not bad. I want to hire you as our hospital's pharmacist." "Pharmacist?" Sheng Fenghua shook her head and said with a smile, "I'm sorry. I'm more skilled at seeing patients. Pharmaceutical manufacturing is just my interest." "Seeing patients? You know how to do that?" President Yang looked at Sheng Fenghua with some surprise, wondering where this monster came from. Not only did he know how to make medicine, but he also knew how to see patients. "Yes." Old Man Jun and President Yang looked at each other and then asked, "Girl, seeing a doctor is not a child's play. Are you sure you can do it?" "Don't worry, Old Man Jun. I never lie, and I don't do things that I'm not sure of. However, I don't have a medical qualification certificate for the time being." Old Man Jun glanced at Sheng Fenghua and saw that she didn't seem to be lying. Then he thought about how she had massaged his acupoints to alleviate his condition. Her medical skills should be really good. Therefore, he looked at President Yang and said, "Old man, you see?" President Yang knew what Elder Jun wanted to say and waved his hand then. He looked at Sheng Fenghua and said, "Sheng girl, you can be a doctor, but you have to take the exam first. If you pass the exam, I will get someone to arrange a medical qualification certificate for you. You will also be our hospital's special doctor." "In that case, thank you very much, President Yang. I wonder when the exam will be held? And where will the exam be held?" "Anytime. The exam venue is in the medical school. If you are ready, I can immediately arrange it for you." "Then I'll have to trouble President Yang. I have time tomorrow." "What tomorrow?" President Yang was stunned. He looked at Sheng Fenghua in shock and asked, "You don't need to prepare? The exam is not a child's game. No matter how well prepared, read books and so on. But Sheng Fenghua actually said no. Isn't it a bit too arrogant? No need. Sheng Fenghua shook her head. Things are in mind, ready or not all the same. Winch, you really don't need to prepare? Jun Lao, also some disapproval, advised, I think you don't need to be too anxious after a few days or a month to test again, not too late. Sheng Fenghua smiled and rejected Elder Jun's good intentions. She said, Thank you for your good intentions, Elder Jun. I'm well aware of my own matters. I really don't need to prepare. I can do it at any time. President Yang glanced at Sheng Fenghua and didn't try to persuade her again. He said, All right then, come to the hospital to find me at 9 tomorrow morning. I'll personally take you to take the exam. Thank you, President Yang. Sheng Fenghua thanked President Yang and then said goodbye to the two elders. Only then did she leave the hospital with Jun Yinshin. Sitting in the car, Jun Yinshin peeked at Sheng Fenghua from time to time, looking as if he wanted to say something. What's wrong? Sheng Fenghua looked at Jun Yinshin in confusion and asked, Fenghua, are you really confident that you can pass the exam? Jun Yinshin asked worriedly. His thoughts were actually the same as the old man's. He thought that he should prepare first. You don't believe me? Sheng Fenghua smiled and raised her eyebrows. Don't worry. I never do things that I'm not sure of. Since Sheng Fenghua had said so, Jun Yinshin couldn't say anything more. However, he was looking forward to the next day. He wanted to see how capable Sheng Fenghua was. The car stopped at the gate of the family courtyard. Sheng Fenghua thanked Jun Yinshin and turned to walk toward the gate. However, before she took 2 steps, she heard a voice behind her, Fenghua, it's you. Sheng Fenghua turned her head and saw Zhou. She called out, sister-in-law. Zhou walked to Sheng Fenghua's side and asked with a smile, Fenghua, who was the one who sent you back just now? A friend, Sheng Fenghua replied indifferently and quickened her pace. She didn't like Zhou very much because she had a big mouth. However, Sheng Fenghua didn't want to say more, but in Zhou's eyes, she felt guilty. She looked at Sheng Fenghua, who was leaving quickly, and then looked at the car that was far away. Her eyes flashed, and she walked toward the family courtyard. After walking for a while, Zhou saw Bai Feifei coming toward her, so she smiled and went up to greet her. Dr. Bai, it's you. Zhou's sister-in-law, you're back from shopping. Yes. All right, Dr. Bai, I just saw Sheng Fenghua come back in a man's car. When Bai Feifei heard this, she couldn't help but think of what she saw this morning, so she asked, What kind of car? A black car. A black car. I saw one this morning, but I didn't see who was driving it. I saw it. The driver was a man, and he was a handsome young man. I just asked Sheng Fenghua, and she said he was her friend. Friend? It's unlikely that she has a friend who drives a car in the countryside, right? Bai Feifei looked incredulous and said, How could someone who can afford a car be friends with Sheng Fenghua? Sister-in-law couldn't have been deceived by her, right? Deceive me? Why? Sister-in-law, you're too innocent. Think about it. What else can a person deceive another person? Dr. Bai, you mean? Bai Feifei smiled and didn't say anything. The calculation in her eyes flashed away. Sheng Fenghua, take this. Zhou and Bai Feifei separated after walking for a while. One of them pondered over the other's intentions while walking. By the time she returned to the family courtyard, she had almost thought it through. Therefore, when she met the first person, Zhou began to spread the news that Sheng Fenghua had met a rich man in the city, and she had come back in that man's car. Women always like to spread gossip, let alone a woman who had nothing to do all day. Therefore, in less than half an hour, the news of Sheng Fenghua coming back in a rich man's car once again spread throughout the entire courtyard. Sheng Fenghua had no idea about the rumors outside. At this time, she was cooking for Si Zhanbei at home. Since she had promised Si Zhanbei to let him come back for dinner every day, Sheng Fenghua would not be perfunctory. She cooked a pot of rice and made 3 dishes. One was stir-fried pork with green peppers, one was tomato and egg soup, and one was garlic and green vegetables. She was very fast and finished it in half an hour. Then, she waited at home for Si Zhanbei to come back. However, it had already been half an hour since Si Zhanbei got off work, but she still did not see him. Sheng Fenghua planned to go take a look and ask others to see what Si Jianbei was busy with. However, just as she opened the door, she heard a conversation coming from the stairs. One of them was Zhou Ju, and the other was Si Jianbei. Zhou Ju said to Si Jianbei, "Battalion Commander Si, you have to take good care of your family's Fenghua. Sister-in-law, what's wrong?" Si Jianbei heard Zhou Ju's words and asked indifferently, thinking that Sheng Fenghua had done something out of the ordinary again. "Battalion Commander Si, I'm telling you this for your own good. I'm telling you, your family's Fenghua has somehow met a rich man in the city. You have to keep an eye on him." "Sister-in-law, what do you mean by this?" Si Jianbei's face darkened, and his voice turned colder. He hated it when people spoke ill of Sheng Fenghua. Commander Si, I'm not talking nonsense. I saw her come back in a small car with my own eyes today. I'm telling you, the man driving the car is a handsome young man. The two of them were talking and laughing." "Really?" Si Jianbei's eyes flashed, and he wondered who would be the one who sent Sheng Fenghua back. Zhou Ju watched, thinking that Si Jianbei had heard her words, so she continued, "Commander Si, don't doubt it. Not only did I see it, even Dr. Bai saw it. But she saw the other party come to pick up Sheng Fenghua, and I saw the other party send her back. I got it. If sister-in-law is fine, I'll go home first." Si Jianbei nodded and prepared to go upstairs. There are some things that one might as well ask Sheng Fenghua directly after listening to others. Unexpectedly, Zhou Ju once again blocked his way and continued to persuade him. "Battalion Commander Si, don't blame sister-in-law for being nosy. You really have to take good care of her. Otherwise, if one day she runs away with someone else, it'll be too late for you to regret it. Sister-in-law, be careful. Fenghua isn't that kind of person. Battalion Commander Si, you're the only one who trusts her so much. It's said that you can't judge a book by its cover. Who doesn't know that your family's Sheng Fenghua came from the countryside? What kind of clothes did she wear in the past? But what kind of clothes did she wear today, I'm telling you? The clothes she wore today are not cheap. Maybe it was bought by the man who sent her back. Sister-in-law." Si Jianbei's voice grew louder. He glanced at Zhou Ju coldly and said, "You've misunderstood. The clothes Fenghua was wearing were bought for her yesterday." "You bought it? Who are you lying to?" Zhou Ju obviously did not believe it. She felt that even after Sheng Fenghua had been here for so long, Si Jianbei had never bought her clothes. She thought that Si Jianbei said this because he wanted to look good for her. However, Zhou Ju's words made Si Jianbei's face sink. He looked at her and said coldly, "Sister-in-law, I'll say it again. I know what kind of person my Fenghua is, and I believe in her. Please don't say anything else in the future, or don't blame me for not being polite." After saying that, Si Jianbei walked past Zhou Ju with a cold face and strode upstairs. Just as he reached the third floor, he saw Sheng Fenghua leaning against the wall, waiting for him. He couldn't help but be stunned and asked, "Why are you here?" "Waiting for you." Sheng Fenghua smiled and went up to him, asking, "Why are you so late?" "It's nothing. I just talked to someone," Si Jianbei said indifferently. He took the initiative to hold Sheng Fenghua's hand and went home. He knew that Sheng Fenghua had heard what he said to Zhou Ju just now, but he wouldn't take the initiative to say it if she didn't ask. He trusted Sheng Fenghua, both in the past and now. When the two of them returned home, Sheng Fenghua asked Si Jianbei to wash his hands while she brought out the food. After setting the table, Si Jianbei helped the two of them to serve the food and started eating. He did not even ask Sheng Fenghua, which surprised her a little. Although she had heard him and Zhou Ju say that he trusted her, Sheng Fenghua thought that Si Jianbei had to say that in front of outsiders just to save face. But now that he had already returned home and he did not even ask, Sheng Fenghua finally believed that Si Jianbei really believed her. In an instant, her mood brightened up, and she took the initiative to pick up a few dishes for Si Jianbei. Si Jianbei looked at the extra dishes in his bowl and raised his eyebrows. He did not say anything and ate them in big mouthfuls. After eating, the two of them sat down on the sofa. Only then did Sheng Fenghua plan to tell Si Jianbei about what happened in the morning. Since he trusted her so much, she had nothing to hide. Sheng Fenghua took the initiative to sit next to Si Jianbei. She looked at him and asked with a smile, Jianbei, is there anything you want to ask me? Si Jianbei shook his head. In his opinion, if Sheng Fenghua wanted to tell him, she would naturally tell him. Really? Sheng Fenghua asked again. Really? Hearing this, Sheng Fenghua smiled and looked at Si Jianbei with a chivalrous look. She said, for example, where did I go in the morning? Why did I take someone else's car back? Hearing this, Si Jianbei reached out to hold Sheng Fenghua's waist and looked at her seriously. He said, Fenghua, we are husband and wife. I believe you. No matter what others say, I will only believe your words. As for what happened this morning, if you want to say it, just say it. If you don't want to say it, then forget it. For some reason, when she heard Si Jianbei's words, Sheng Fenghua could not help but feel her eyes heat up. Then, she leaned on his shoulder and said softly, Thank you. Thank you for trusting me so much and trusting me so much. After a while, when her mood had calmed down, Sheng Fenghua finally told Si Jianbei about what happened this morning. You know the person who came to pick me up in the morning? It's Jun Yinshin. It's him. Si Jianbei's expression changed slightly when he thought of Jun Yinshin. He felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. When he thought of the way Jun Yinshin looked at Sheng Fenghua yesterday, his gaze gradually turned cold. Sheng Fenghua did not feel the change in Si Jianbei's mood. She continued, Yes, he came to pick me up on the orders of grandfather Jun. Then we went to the Yang private hospital in the city and met President Yang. Take you to the hospital? Si Jianbei looked at Sheng Fenghua worriedly and asked, Has old man Jun's illness not recovered? Seeing Si Jianbei's worry, Sheng Fenghua smiled and said, Don't worry, old man Jun is fine. He just wants to introduce me to a job? Introduce me to a job? Si Jianbei was stunned. However, he quickly reacted and asked, Could it be that he wants to introduce you to Yang's hospital to be a doctor? Congratulations, you guessed half right. Sheng Fenghua looked at Si Jianbei with a smug look and said, President Yang originally planned to invite me to become a pharmacist in their hospital, but I refused. Pharmacist, not a doctor. Si Jianbei had heard about pharmacists before, but he did not know much about this profession. He only knew that he had been dealing with medicine for many years. I'm not a doctor, so I refused. If you refuse, then so be it. It's okay. I can afford to support you. Si Jianbei patted Sheng Fenghua's hand and comforted her. Seeing Si Jianbei comforting her, Sheng Fenghua was in a good mood. She could not help but want to tease him, saying, If I have no job, will you continue to support me? Of course. You're my wife. If I don't support you, who will I support? But I spend so much money. What if I spend all your money? Sheng Fenghua could not help but ask again. It's okay. I'll earn more after the money is spent. In short, you don't have to worry about money. You can spend it however you want. I've said it before, there's absolutely no problem to support you. Then I'll spend as much as I can from now on. I'll spend all your money. Sheng Fenghua looked like she was going to squander everything, which made Si Jianbei laugh. He reached out and pinched her nose, saying, Okay, you can spend as much money as you want from now on. Jianbei, thank you. Sheng Fenghua was extremely touched. She could feel that Si Jianbei did not lie to her. He really did not think that it was a bad thing for her to spend money. Fenghua, you're here again. We're husband and wife. There's no need to be so polite. Remember, what's mine is yours, and what's yours is yours too. Okay, I'll remember. Sheng Fenghua smiled, then sat up straight and said, But I still like to earn money and spend it myself. So, don't worry, I won't spend all your money. I'll earn and spend it myself. Hearing this, Si Jianbei frowned. He opened his mouth to say something, but Sheng Fenghua reached out and covered his mouth. Jianbei, listen to me first. President Yang has agreed to let me be a doctor in their hospital, but I have to take the medical qualification certificate first. The time will be arranged according to tomorrow morning. What? You're going to take the exam tomorrow? Si Jianbei looked at Sheng Fenghua in shock and asked, Are you confident? Don't worry, I never do things that I'm not confident about. It's just that, if that's the case, I won't be able to make it back in time to cook for you tomorrow afternoon. It's okay, I'll just eat in the cafeteria. That's fine too. All right, where are you going to take the exam tomorrow? President Yang said he's going to take me to the medical school for the exam. Okay, I'll see if I have time tomorrow and send you there. No need. I can go by myself. Sheng Fenghua did not want to delay Si Zhanbei's work, so she declined with a smile. She was not really from the countryside, so it would not be a problem for her to find a place. Moreover, President Yang said that he would personally take her there. So, she only needed to go to Yang's hospital tomorrow. Si Zhanbei did not say anything else, but he secretly decided to see if he could apply for leave tomorrow. His little wife was going to take the medical certificate examination, so how could he not send her there? The two of them talked for a while. Si Zhanbei rested for a while and then went to work. Sheng Fenghua was at home alone and had nothing to do. Therefore, she went directly into the space, intending to tidy up the laboratory inside. After entering the space, Sheng Fenghua went directly to the laboratory in the depths of Merlin. After tidying up the kitchen utensils that appeared last time, she went to the herbal field to pick some medicinal herbs, preparing to replenish the missing pills in the laboratory. The busy time passed quickly. Sheng Fenghua finished brewing the medicinal herbs, and it was already 5 o'clock in the afternoon when she came out of the space. Therefore, she took a short break and began to cook dinner for the two of them. After dinner, the husband and wife went downstairs, took a walk in the courtyard, and went home to rest. The next morning, Si Zhanbei had his breakfast, gave Sheng Fenghua a few instructions, and went back to work. After Si Zhanbei left, Sheng Fenghua tidied up, changed into a set of clothes, brought a pen and paper, and carried a bag out of the door. But to her surprise, as soon as she left the family courtyard, she saw a familiar sedan parked outside. Jun Yinshin was sitting in the car. When he saw Sheng Fenghua come out, his face lit up. He opened the car door and walked out, shouting, "Fenghua, why are you here?" Sheng Fenghua looked at Jun Yinshin with some surprise. If he had come on the orders of the old man yesterday, then today she was going to take an exam. The old man should not have let him come. "I'm here to pick you up." Jun Yinshin smiled, and then opened the door of the passenger seat. He was the one who had come to pick up Sheng Fenghua today, because he was really curious. He wanted to see if Sheng Fenghua could really pass the medical qualification examination without any preparation. However, Sheng Fenghua thought that Grandfather Jun had asked him to come, so she asked, "Did Grandfather ask you to come again?" Jun Yinshin was stunned. He didn't expect Sheng Fenghua to ask this question, so he replied casually, "Yes." Sheng Fenghua heard that Grandfather Jun had asked Jun Yinshin to come, so she was less worried and directly got into the car. They soon reached the city. Sheng Fenghua saw that Jun Yinshin did not take the road to the Yang family's hospital, but took another road instead. She could not help but ask, "Yinshin, did you take the wrong road?" No. We went straight to the medical school. President Yang is waiting for us there." Sheng Fenghua nodded when she heard that and did not say anything. The medical school was not far away. They arrived about 20 minutes later. Jun Yinshin drove the car in and stopped in front of teaching building. "Fenghua, we're here." Jun Yinshin parked the car and helped Sheng Fenghua open the door. Then, he locked the car and led her to the teaching building. In an office in the teaching building, President Yang was talking to a few professors. Of course, most of what he said was to praise Sheng Fenghua, but the professors didn't quite believe President Yang's words. "Is the Sheng Fenghua you mentioned really that powerful?" "Of course. How could I lie to you old friends? I'm telling you, at first, I didn't believe it either. Later, she said she wanted to prove it in person, and I was still skeptical. But the truth is, she really proved herself. President Yang, even if she's good at making medicine, it doesn't mean that her medical skills are good, right?" "Exactly. Old friends, don't underestimate her. Otherwise, she'll end up like me and get slapped in the face. If she's really that good, we'd rather get slapped in the face. Yeah, it's rare to see a genius." Outside the office, a woman stood quietly. After hearing what was said inside, her face turned ugly.